Toss aside the touchy-feely notions of love in business and recognize the real power it holds. Welcome to the Love is Just Damn Good Business podcast with host Steve Farber. Drawing on his work with a wide variety of companies from the Fortune 100 to smaller family-owned businesses, Farber shares inspiring interviews with business leaders and proven strategies for how you can create experiences that your customers will love by developing a culture that your employees, teammates, and colleagues love working in. Discover why and how love, at the end of the day, is just damn good business for you too. Here's your host, Steve Farber.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Love is Just Damn Good Business podcast. I'm your host, Steve Farber, but you probably already knew that. My guests today are Katie Jensen and Rachel Jones. They are the co-founders of a company called Triton Stone Group based in the New Orleans area. They are a family business. Katie is the CEO. Rachel is the VP. Not only are they co-founders in a family business, but therefore they are also sisters who work together. And I'll give you the high level on this, but Triton Stone Group is, as the name suggests, a company that focuses on high quality natural stone, like marble, granite, etc. The kind of stuff that you would use to put in a new countertop in the home that you just bought or are building, and everything related to that. And they have stores all throughout primarily the Midwest and the Southeast. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they are growing like crazy. So Katie and Rachel, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you, Steve.
So let's start with the CEO. So Katie, you started this company how long ago now?
So in August, it'll be 17 years.
17 years ago.
Yes. So we opened up in August of 2006, recently after Katrina. Our family wanted to open up a company to invest in the rebuilding of the city. And, we started there with 5 people, and it's really just been a roller coaster of an adventure. When you look back to where we started to where we are now, and it's been a great ride.
So 17 years ago, and this was after for you a long, arduous career in corporate America, working for, no, I'm kidding.
Not that old, Steve, come on.
Yeah, I'm getting there. So how old were you when you started the company, Katie?
23.
23.
I was 23. I lasted 10 months in sort of corporate America up in New Jersey, working for a shipping company. And I realized I was one employee out of 200,000 worldwide. And we had grown up. Our father's an entrepreneur. So, coming from that background, I just realized this was not the place for me. And then that's what it was the impetus following Katrina to move down back to New Orleans and kind of start something that we could grow.
And had you guys, Rachel, were you guys tight growing up?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Katie and I have always been, kind of two peas in a pod. I was always the sister who, wanted to hang out with her and her friends. And luckily for me, she was the sister that was very welcoming and always included me. So I was actually still in college when, the idea kind of came about to start Triton. And, I was in the business school at University of Southern Mississippi. And so, just in conversation, it was just, it wasn't really even a thought. It was like, oh, Katie's going to start a company. I'm in, let me know what I need to do. So, we were definitely all in, I think, from the beginning.
So did you finish school or did you just say, that's it, I'm out of here?
No, I definitely finished school. I think so it opened in 2006. I graduated in 2007. So my senior year was kind of the first year that they were getting up and running. My husband, Dan, started working with Katie on day one, kind of taking over the outside sales position. And then as soon as I graduated in May, I, kind of just transferred right over and kind of, feet on the ground to start helping to build the team.
So there were 5 of you in the beginning. Is that what you said?
Yeah, started with 5 people. And I mean, I think I tell people it's funny. I was like, I think we were just too naive to think we could fail. I mean, we were like, this is what we have to do. We're going to do it. Of course, people want to buy stone from us. So it's just, a lot of energy. It was my future brother-in-law, a cousin, a friend of my brother's, and then a daughter of one of my parents' friends. So it was all like indirectly family and friends. And it was like, hey, we're going to make this happen. And I think honestly, as we grew, we just attracted a very young group of individuals who wanted to grow, and they could sense that there was a future, with our company and with our family.
So this was, it was the inspiration that came out of the tragedy of Katrina, where you saw the entire area just get submersed in water.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, most of us can't even conceive of how horrible that was. So you wanted to be in a business that was somehow related to the rebuilding of the area. Am I hearing that right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our brother at the time, right after Katrina, he kind of joined forces with our cousin, and they created a nonprofit, I Desire NOLA. And it was kind of this huge campaign to bring attention back to the city, to the rebuilding. And, then when the conversation started about Triton, it just really fit that mold of what we were, already trying to do. And I think with, the influences that our family has in the city, it just made a lot of sense that we would be able to, really be a part of the rebuilding and, be a consistent face for the homeowners of the area that they could rely on.
Trusted source. Also there was lots of, obviously, contractors, people coming into the area. I mean, so, we were able to provide a service and give them a quality product, and they knew we were a reputable company. And obviously not obviously, but my father's company is in trucking and logistics. So we also had that as a help and support to be able to move the containers and that knowledge. So it was a very big, help at the beginning.
So you guys, as a family and as a family business through your dad, already had, you were known in the community. You had a certain level of credibility, and there were a lot of people who were coming into the city to take advantage, of the resources that were going to be needed to rebuild. So you started on the basis of that credibility. I get all that, but why stone? I mean, what was it that brought you to that specific market?
I mean, honestly, it was a connection through our father's trucking company. It was a customs broker, and he was actually clearing containers for this company called Triton Stone. So the first location of Triton Stone was in Memphis, Tennessee, actually South Haven, Mississippi, but it's right over the border. And those owners were interested in expanding the footprint. So originally my dad and brother went up to South Haven to talk to them, and we were going to be open up as a distributorship. So we were going to be the third location, which got us the connection to the stone suppliers overseas. And obviously our location was individually owned and operated, but it gave us kind of like the platform and the business model. So through them, we were able to import stone containers. And, I went up to Mississippi and I had like a 3-day training session. I was like, okay, let's go sell some stone. So that was the impetus. And, looking at the business plan and the business model, that's what we were like, let's move forward with this model and company. So that's really how the idea came about.
And fast forward to today, you guys own the brand now.
We do.
Correct?
We do. Mm-hmm.
So what was the evolution of that?
So, fast forward from 6 to 2017, we had actually opened up 9 locations in the Southeast. And at that point, we had just become very good operators. We had built that team of people who were like young, motivated, wanting to grow. And we're just creating something special. I and Rachel, we had already made direct relationships with anyone in the supply chain that we needed. So it was a decision as a family. We had to either decide to buy out the brand or kind of change our name, rebrand ourselves as our own company. But the prior owners of the brand were willing to sell. So it just worked out that we purchased the brand, we bought 5 more stores, and that kind of set the platform for where we are now, which we have 28 locations across the Southeast and Midwest. It's pretty awesome.
So when you guys were starting the company, you looked at, so I get there was kind of a mission element to it, right? To help the city rebuild. You focused on stone because there was an opportunity there, and you saw you saw how that could work. Did you give any thought in the beginning, way back when there were just 5 of you? Did you give any thought to what kind of company you wanted to build beyond the stuff that you were wanting to sell? In other words, the culture that you wanted to create. Was there any discussion around that at all way back in the very beginning?
I don't think there was any specific discussion around it, but there was a stark contrast in the way that we ran our locations compared to the way that the original owners ran theirs. And I think it was more of like, we knew what we didn't want to be and what we didn't want to do. And, you know, I think there was always that family element included. And, you know, we really, I feel, built our business based on trusting, you know, family, friends, connections through, you know, family, friends. I mean, for a long time, any employee you would tell me, I would say, oh yeah, that was my sister's best friend in high school, or that was my dad's best friend's niece, or, I mean, there was just always some connection. And I think because we were so genuine, we were able to really build like this very solid base. And when we were ready to make that decision to, you know, continue to grow and buy out the brand, that was really, I think, what gave us the confidence to know that like we could do this, because, you know, we had an amazing team. And, you know, I would say at that point when we were able to really take control of the brand, I think that's when the culture piece kind of became more of a main focus of our conversation of like, okay, where are we going to take this now? What are we going to do to elevate and next level?
And like onboard those new team members, right? Because they didn't come up with us or know our family. So I think, you know, organically, it was all very important that we made sure everyone felt like they were part of our family. And we did, I think, a great job of that. And then now it's becoming even more important as everyone knows, right? But, you know, it's just something that we truly loved what we do. We love each other. And I think our team sees that, not just each other, our whole family. And, you know, that's inspired people to kind of get behind our mission.
So a lot of the culture that evolved was really, in the beginning anyway, an extension of the family dynamics that you already had, family and community dynamics. So back up just a little bit and tell us about the family. So you talked a little bit about your dad, but give us a little color on the Jensen tribe.
How much time do you have?
As much as it takes.
I mean, yeah. So there's 7 siblings total. Our oldest brother is Christian, and he is the president of all of Jensen companies, which there is a kind of a conglomerate of companies with which Triton is included in. Then how many
companies is that, by the way?
There's 4 operating companies and then a real estate holding company.
Okay.
Yeah. So he has been also in the family business since before he graduated college. I mean, he has worked with my dad, you know, pretty much as soon as he could work. So he kind of was almost fostering us to like get on board at the time. Like, come on, what are we going to do? What are we going to start? You know, we got to do something.
Very like big picture. I mean, I think, you know, Christian is an amazing, like big picture, challenges the norm. Mm-hmm. And it's great because I'm more of a doer. I'm going to execute. So together, you know, Rachel and I are able to say, okay, we can make this happen. And he challenges like, okay, but let's think bigger. Let's do this. So it's really, at the beginning was a really great, you know, mix together of strengths.
Yeah, okay. For sure. So then is Katie and then me. And so you obviously kind of talked about what we do. Our next younger sister is Mary, and she has been working with the company as well since she graduated.
She's in San Antonio.
She worked in our San Antonio location. She's, moved back home a few years ago. But she's kind of been over our accounts payable department for the last, 7+ years,
7-8 years. Yeah.
And then our brother, David, he works for one of the other companies. It's called Plastics. And his wife, though, Megan, she works with us. So she's over all of our logistics and our distribution centers. So she started also, they moved to Charleston.
Yeah, right out of college. And then they actually, there was an opportunity for us to open up a location in Charleston, and her and David moved their family to Charleston, did the greenfield, right? I mean, it's a lot of hard work at the beginning and got it up and running. And then they moved back to New Orleans a couple of years ago as well. And so she, runs logistics, distribution.
Yes. And then Claire as well also was part of the Charleston startup team. Her and her husband moved there and was part of that kind of, getting that location going. And so her husband's job has taken her, in different areas of the country, but she has continued to work for us in several different capacities. Mm-hmm. She's very, adaptable and just kind of is, whatever needs to be done, she'll do. To help. And then our youngest sister, who is awesome. I like to say she's the family because, she kind of was like, okay, you guys are all doing this. I'm going to go be a pilot and do my own thing. And it's awesome because it's so her personality and, she totally still, supports us and I think admires from afar.
Right. Glad she's not in it.
But so she lives in Birmingham and her husband did work for us for a short time when they lived here.
Everyone worked for us at one point
for a little bit. But yeah, so that's everybody.
And then there's 16 grandkids among the 7 kids. So, we like babies and family and really
chaos.
Okay.
So I've done a fair amount of work with family-owned businesses over the years. And, it sounds, I think most of us would say, well, that really sounds great. You've got a close family who does business together and everybody gets along and isn't that fantastic? Wouldn't it be great to be in a business like that with my family? Some people might think, and other people might be saying, that sounds like, so that just because a business is a quote family business isn't necessarily a formula for a great culture.
Absolutely.
We've seen plenty examples where it creates more drama, more politics, and we've seen families, split apart as a result of being in business together.
Yeah. So
there's some kind of dynamic that you already have in your family. This is my, from the outside looking in, that really, really kind of easily transferred into a business context, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Because I'm going to guess that you guys are not like, argument free.
No, of course not.
We always agree. What are you talking about? No, I'll definitely give you a little color, I think, to a huge reason why we, I think, have been able to get to where we are today. When my mom was growing up, one of her best friends, it was the Retief oil family. And she was, the daughter there was 2 daughters and a son. And when the dad passed away, he left everything to the son and completely cut the 2 daughters out of, the business, the trust, whatever it was. And it completely split the family apart. I mean, still to this day, they don't, speak to each other. And I think it just greatly, from an outside perspective for my mom, it really affected her to say, like, what a tragedy. And I will never let this happen in my family. And I mean, this was way far beyond any of us being old enough to even think about starting a business. But when it became apparent that that was the trajectory that we were on, she was very adamant about keeping the family principles and the fact that at the end of the day, your blood, and that's the most important thing. You love each other. All else goes aside until you can get back to that core level of love and respect. And, I think, of course, we have had, bumps along the way, and everybody has to kind of settle into their different roles. And I think, that requires a lot of respect for each other. Right. And, for me, and I think for Katie too, that has definitely been a huge part of why we've been able to overcome some of the past, disagreements that we may have had. And, just making that a priority no matter what to be, to figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, I think at the base is love. We have to start with that and the fact that we're a family. So, when you throw everything else out the door, like, you say, check your ego at the door. We want to love and support each other. And once everyone, yes, I think realizes what their role is and that, at the end of the day, we all have the same goal. We're able to get there. And I think, yes, credit to my mom and both our parents for instilling that in us, because it's definitely not easy. I mean, it's not all, it is wonderful, but it's challenging, right? But what's hard about it is worth 10 times what you get out of it. So I think it's been an amazing blessing, but it's definitely, we've evolved over the years and kind of got to a really great state right now.
It's not an uncommon story for a younger sibling to both look up to an older sibling and be envious of that person at the same time, because the ego gets challenged in it and all that. So I'm looking at the two of you, and Katie's the CEO and Rachel is the VP. So Katie's kind of the
she's
figurehead.
My boss.
She's your boss. So talk about that. I mean, so Rachel, for you, is there ever any, did you have to work through any feelings of envy or anything, any dynamic like that?
I would say absolutely. In the beginning, I think it was really challenging because we both have strong personalities, and I think we both have a lot to contribute. There was a lot that also I think had to do with the timing of, the way that things played out. I, for lack of other reasons, I got married and started having kids right away. So I was kind of like in and then out. So, for a couple of those first few years where you have to have a leader of a company, you have to have a consistent head, and that wasn't me. I wasn't there. And I was okay with that because I knew, kind of the path that I wanted for my family life. Right. And so, yes, I think maybe retrospectively for a little bit, it was like, oh, okay, I see that I made this decision to step back, but, maybe didn't realize what long-term decision it was going to be. But also, I have to give credit to Katie because she has never diminished my role or my contribution, in the company. And I think that we both really just see we each have amazing strengths and assets to offer. And together it's double. There's no need for it to be like, oh, well, I did this or she did this, so I need to do this. That just kind of hasn't really been an issue.
Transpired.
Because that also, yes, we're sisters. Yes, we work together, but we're also friends. We go out together, our group of friends hangs out together. So it's not even like we work together and it's fine, but then okay, I don't want to see you till Monday. No, it's like we work together all week. And then I'm like, okay, what are we doing tonight? Where are we going? So I think that also has really helped us be able to work through any issues where we can each sit down and be like, look, this happened. It upset me. Okay. I'm sorry. Right. I didn't mean that, so
be humble enough to say apologize. Right. And be like, okay, noted, let's talk through this and do this better the next time. And, honestly, as our company has grown, I feel like our relationship has grown because, you have to have structure and you have to have direction, right? For all of our team, they have to understand, you can't go to Rachel to talk to me if you have to talk to me, right? So it has been a learning curve, but it's just really, I don't know, it's really exciting, where we are currently and truly poised for growth. And I think it's so important that our team sees that we're a cohesive unit because that instills confidence in the lead, in them, that the leadership is connected
together.
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys have a big family, but you have how many employees now at Triton?
354.
354 employees, and you're in growth mode and you want to be bigger. So you have a big family, but it's not 350 people in your family. So where I'm going with this is, what about for people coming into the company who aren't part of the family and aren't part of your extended community through friendships and all of that?
Right.
So maybe it's a company that you have acquired or people that you've hired in a different part of the country. Or I know in many family-owned businesses, there's that dynamic that says, well, either you're in the family or you're not. And the opportunities are there for people who are in the family. And if you're not in the family, you just you have to kind of deal with it. So what does it look like for you guys? For somebody like me, for example, who's not in the family?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I would say a few things. First, I feel like everyone, like our job, our goal is to make everyone feel like they're part of the family, right? I mean, at a base level, everyone just wants to be appreciated. They want to be told that and feel like they've done a good job and they're contributing to like something higher than just selling stone. Right. I mean, at the end of the day, I tell people like we could sell widgets, but what it's about is like our team is what is our secret sauce. And, we've evolved. We acquired a company in the Midwest and it was like day one, we are giving them welcome bags and we gave them Tabasco and Zapp's potato chips and, any way that we can connect them to the bigger goal. And the bigger goal is that we create this true unit of rock stars that it's like the sky's the limit. So, and I feel like, we've been on this like cultural evolution. It's really exciting. I feel like my role has changed. I mean, I used to be I still am, but I used to be very involved in everything and no one could do anything without okaying it with me. And I've had to be like, okay, Katie, you need to step back and trust your team. Right. Trust that they're going to do the right thing for Triton. So then I can make sure our team is inspiring their team and like we're building leaders. So I think we are actually attracting top talent from other companies because they want that connection, right? It's not just like numbers, goals. It's right. Truly about you are important to us. I mean, Rachel handwrites birthday cards to every single employee. You don't know how many emails we get like, this is amazing. I can't believe you guys do this. So it's like little things that we're trying to do.
Right. To add this level of connection. I mean, like you said, everybody wants to feel connected. And I do think that it's definitely something that is deep rooted within us where we're from. We're from New Orleans. In New Orleans, if you know the culture, it's like the more the merrier. Everybody's welcome. And I think that that's also helped us like transcend as we've had these acquisitions. But I also feel like, I don't think that there's ever been a, person that's hired that Katie or I has ever been like, okay, well, that's just the receptionist in Charlotte. Like, doesn't matter. No way. If I'm in Charlotte and you just started, I'm going to sit there and talk to you. And where are you from? And do you have kids? And how, what's your history? Because that's what they want. That's what they crave. And it's 10 minutes of my time that is going to make a lasting, impression on that person. And, so I think it's a lot of little things like that we just do naturally,
right?
That really builds on top of that to make the culture that we want.
How often do you guys get that opportunity for those face-to-face conversations with people on, other parts of the country?
Obviously not as much as we like, but I think,
frequently still.
Yeah, we travel pretty regularly. And yeah, I think it's so apparent when we do go to the stores that, people are so appreciative that we're there and, so happy for the FaceTime that, we actually had a recent meeting about the fact that we need to see the stores more because that does make such lasting impacts on the teams at those locations.
ROI. We have our town halls. We have the big event in April with customers and we were able to bring down our managers and one level, but equally important are our drivers and our warehouse team. I mean, they're the lifeblood of us. If we don't have our drivers delivering our stone, we can't make sales. So, right. It's so very important that they understand how much they're appreciated. I mean, this month, right, we're doing an appreciation of all our forklift drivers. So doing a slideshow and, just making sure they feel part of the team and know how much we appreciate them.
So you used that word a couple of times earlier. The word that we like around here, around these parts, we like the word love, obviously. So you have a loving family, which is extending into a business where you both said you love what you're doing and you want people to love it as well. So talk a little bit about what that looks like or could look like or should look like in the way that you operate your business and particularly as you have, look towards the future and for growing the company. So I'll simplify the question. What does or should love look like for you guys?
Well, I mean, I think for me, it's genuine. It's doing what you say you're going to do. And it's showing it, it's proving it, right. In certain aspects of new programs that we put out, or, initiatives that we have. We have some really great internal programs that, we established a few years ago that has been a huge part of, why we, I think, have a lot of people, really get attached to the company and the culture, because, they've either seen, a coworker be able to be helped by us, or has been, able to reach out and say, like, look, I need help. And then they get that help.
Right.
So,
So what kind of, can you give me an example of a program that you've done before?
So it's called Triton Cares. And it's a employee funded, and it's Triton matched depending on, what the circumstances are. But basically when they're hired, it's like in their hire packet, and they can elect to donate $1, $2, $5 off of every paycheck. It goes into a fund. And then we have a board of people who kind of oversee the money and decide, the way that it's used. So, for example, right now we have somebody in Huntsville who has COVID for like the second time, and she, has used all of her PTO and, can't come to work. So Triton Cares is paying for her to have an additional week off of work. There was a really terrible tragedy in New Orleans. We had one of our employees was shot on the weekend, or actually it was a weekday, but after work, right. He was, riding his bike, and drive-by shooting, he was killed. And, we were able to raise close to almost $8,000 for his family, and paid for funeral expenses. And his cousin worked for us, so paid for him to be off of work for, 2 weeks. And those are things that people are like, wow, okay, you guys are serious. You're really, stepping out to make sure that we're not just taking this money and then doing nothing with it, and then at the end of the year, we have the opportunity to, assess what's in the fund and donate it to a charity of everyone's choice, or, let it roll over and continue to be able to really help the employees, because that's what it's for. It's to help the employees.
Right. All right. This is the full disclosure moment here. So you guys and me and my team are just embarking on a journey together here now.
We are.
Yes. And we're all very excited about it. So we're going to be working together for the next couple of years. Here's the way I look at it. For us to help you guys become even more of who you already are. Is that a fair way of saying it?
That's absolutely. That's perfect.
So from your perspective, what was it that, because love was already important to you. What was it what was the impetus for you guys reaching out to me in the beginning? And what are your hopes for what we can do over the next couple of years together?
The future. So I think a few things. I mean, we had undergone a big, acquisition of the brand and 5 stores in 2017. And, we're kind of on this train, and not that we were like, I would say we were maybe losing our way. We were just kind of like making sure we were hitting numbers and doing these things that weren't translating to investing back in our team. And what really started it, full transparency, is we did an employee survey. So our CFO, David, also great, big thinker. He's always wanting me to do new things. And so he's like, look, let's do this employee survey. So we did the survey. And of course I'm like, I love Triton. Doesn't everyone love Triton? Well, they didn't. It was pretty glaringly obvious that we were failing at a lot of things, right? We had expanded quicker than maybe our infrastructure was ready for. Things were getting dropped through the cracks. Our team was feeling overworked, overwhelmed, underappreciated. It's like lots of things. And for me, that just wasn't okay, right? So I mean, I think Rachel can tell you, like, I'm someone, not that I'm saying I like to win, but I need to make sure that like okay, I do, but that I want to make sure we're like doing the best. Like I want to have the best company and the best team and like, make sure everyone is on board. So it was really eye-opening. So we immediately, I'm like, we're having a meeting next week. So like all the team like flew in and we talked about what we're going to do for our team. And that kind of started off like our employee engagement initiative.
Yeah.
So then fast forward to Christmas time and one of our managers on our team, mentioned your book, The Radical Leap, to Todd, who's our COO. And then he told me to read it. And I don't know, it just spoke to me. It really, I mean, I think I've mentioned to you before, I feel like organically the things in your book were what we were doing, but we had lost ourselves along the way. And what I want, right? My goal is that we can inspire all the team to act out your leadership principles. And I mean, I don't know, I didn't force everyone to read it, but ask them nicely to read your book.
Well, so full disclosure, she loves to read, always has. And so in the course of our career together, she's constantly walking in my office. Here, you should read this book, or here's this article, read this article, or, read this book. So she walks in, she's like, hey, you should really read this. I'm like, another one? We just finished a book. She's like, just read it. Okay, just read it. She's like, just listen to it.
It's short.
It's short. Yeah. It's like, it's easy. It's a story.
She did. She's like, it's not like a boring one, I promise. I'm like, okay, fine. So I read it and I was like, wow, like this is what we need. This is an interjection of life that we can kind of use these principles and form around, some stuff that we're already doing, but some stuff that we need to do, and I think also for me, and I think all the rest of our team saw the way that it truly, I think, spoke to Katie and made her, I think, really put the connection between where we were and where we want to go. And it gave us kind of a path that we could follow and a narrative that we could focus around. And we had we had our big December meeting focused around it. Mm-hmm. And then our town halls were also focused around it. And some of the ideas and initiatives that have even come from the last 3 months have been outstanding. I mean, I just had a call this morning with our San Antonio region. They, because of the book and because of the town halls, took it upon themselves to create this hype team for Texas. And they have this whole schedule of events, of fun stuff that they do, and National Ice Cream Day and Bring Your Dog to Work Day and
Field Day,
all this stuff. And so it's seeing the way that it affects people and reinvigorates them and has them, almost recharged and re-energized towards their careers, to say like, wow, I mean, if we can duplicate this across the board, like the sky is the limit, Yeah,
I mean, and it just like, it helped my like mindset change, I mean, a couple of things like, I mean, you think they're simple, but when you have a company with 350 people, right? It's like, look, I don't work between Christmas and New Year's. I don't really think it's fair that we're asking our team to work. Like we should close. And I mean, the buy-in, right? And I mean, the fact that our team appreciates that. And then, I mean, even more recently, I'm like, so we're open on Saturdays, right? For customers to come and view Stone. They work. So we're trying to accommodate them. But also equally, like, what about our team? They need to see their kids' soccer games and baseball games. And that's not really fair. Like, guys, I called Todd and I was like, Todd, I think we need to close on Saturday. And he's like, excuse me, did somebody steal your phone? Is this Katie? Like, who am I talking to? And I'm like, no, Todd, I'm serious. Like, our team needs to know that we care about them, because I also trust them to hit their numbers and make what they need to make happen. But I want them to know that I trust them enough. So hit your numbers, but you don't have to work on Saturdays. So it's just like, there's so many things that are coming out of this mindset change that have been great. And we're not even like, we're barely even tapping into it. So yeah, it's exciting.
Well, I think the big thing, being open or closed on Saturday has been a long standing debate within our company, because obviously nobody wants to work on Saturdays, but it was like a necessary evil. And we've talked about it before, but it was always like back to the numbers. How much money do you make staying open? Like,
how many people come through? What's right? All those.
And things, then when we looked at that decision through the lens with love at the forefront, it was like, wait, no, this is an easy decision. We need to close. They need to be able to, have that same opportunity to have a weekend,
Recharge,
full weekend off.
right?
Yeah. And I think too, just from the team that has been around for 15 years, watching Katie evolve through these different facets of Triton's life has been, I think, so awesome to see, that, she's definitely a leader that's not ever going to say, I've grown enough. I'm the best. Like, she'll always strive to be better and do better. And I think it does. It inspires our team to also, have that at their forefront. How can they be better for their teams? And how can they inspire leaders within their regions? So that's, I think, a huge part of it too.
Absolutely.
So the impetus for this next phase for you guys came out of your desire to kind of check your assumptions against the reality of people's experience in working there. To say, well, it would have been really easy to say, well, we love this company, so everybody does.
Take it or leave it, right?
Because we have our experience.
Fine. We're doing great, right? I mean,
look at the numbers. The numbers are great and we're having a good time, but that's not what you did. You said, let's do a reality check. And the message that you got from that reality check was, maybe.
It was eye-opening.
It was an OSM for sure.
It definitely was.
It really was. I mean, we do like to be the best. And I think when we were at that point, you're so in your own, zone. It's like you forget kind of about what other people's perspectives are and what their day-to-day actually looks like. Cause we don't see that. So, I think it definitely could have gone in either direction. You could have got those results and been like, whatever, they don't know what they're talking about, but
Yes.
It was really like, wait, stop. This is not okay. We need to fix this. So, yeah.
I mean, and I've said it at like our meetings, really my goal now is that truly, we have 100% retention, that we have every single person loves Triton. I mean, and what do we need to do to get there? And that's my goal. I mean, I want to do that. We did the survey 6 months later and we increased 3 times, but we still weren't at 100, right? So we still have room to grow and improve. So that's, that's my new like ambition and goal.
So there's room to grow and improve on the cultural elements as the company is right now, if you'd kind of freeze it in time right now. But then when you add on top of that you're going to have new people and new locations, and you're constant, and as the company grows, that's the additional challenge. It's not, it's one thing to say, well, we have this group of people that we've worked with for X period of time, and we'll work with them, and that's who we are. So let's work on this together, which is part of it. But then at the same time, let's bring new people in. We've worked for companies that love is not something that would even be would even be mentioned. So as you look ahead, well, first of all, let me take you back one more time. Let's look back into the past one more time. When the five of you, the original team, started this company, did you want or think that you would get it to where you are today?
No, I don't think so. I don't know if at that moment you're so in it, right? When you're like, loading up the slabs, literally I unloaded the first slab off of the truck because the guys were scared and I'm like, fine, well, I'll do it. So
they were scared. Why were they scared?
They were scared they were going to break it. They're like, I'm not going to touch the stone. I'm like, well, somebody has to unload it. Okay, I guess I'll do it.
We're in the stone business. Somebody's got to touch the stuff.
Right. So, the first year.
So you hopped on the forklift and you did it yourself?
Absolutely. Yeah. Unloaded the first slab into our warehouse. And then I'm like, now can you do it? I did it. Come on, guys. So,
remember she's 23.
I'm 23. Right?
Yeah. At the time she's 23 and they're like, okay, now we feel really dumb.
But I think it was more, I don't know if it was like short-sighted, but it was just like I knew that I was going to work as hard as possible and to make it a success, and that my team always saw me working so hard. So then in essence, they also worked as hard as possible. So it was just this kind of culture of like, look, we're going to make this happen. Let's go. Yes. Go to Charleston, open up a store, right? Go to Texas and open up a store. You got it. And they saw that it was like guts and determination. I don't know, grit. but definitely I didn't ever perceive that we would have this organization. And also I think what's so special is now we're impacting so many people, right? 350 families and their children, and helping people send their kids to school. I mean, that's my motivation, providing for our team and their families. I mean, I hope it's 500, 1,000 people one day, but that we do it the right way, and that they still feel connected to Triton. And that's my motivation. I mean, I think, we mentioned it before, we're not for sale. And I think, a lot of companies, when you get this big, that the leadership team is waiting for the owners to sell out. Right. And, for them to hear us to say, no, we're not for sale. Guys, we're in it for let's go, double down. It's invigorating, and I don't know, it's exciting.
So where do you want it to go? I mean, you threw out a couple of 500 people, 1,000 people. I mean, do you have, what is the, I understand that it's not the end goal, but if you were to roll the clock ahead, say 5 years, and if you could, wave your proverbial magic wand, in other words, we don't know what's going to happen with the economy. We don't know. There are always elements of the future. Most of the elements of the future are things that we cannot possibly predict. But what is your vision for what you're wanting to create together, let's say over the next 5 years?
I mean, I think just, not more of the same, but, being able to continue to include people and bring people into the circle. There's, like you said before, what is it like for an outsider? Well, I think it's like you get welcomed into a company with open arms, and we're really fun, and we're, moving and shaking things up. I mean, even in the industry, Triton has always kind of been like this small player, but I think we're poised to really, go to that next level. And, like Katie said, we're already starting to see, top talent in many different of our sales categories, reaching out to us to come work for us. And for me, my goal is to not let any of those people down. If you're seeking me out to work for our company, I want to make sure that you are fulfilled and you have an amazing career, and you will look back and say, switching to Triton Stone was the best decision of my life.
Retire here. I mean, right. I don't know what the future is, but I think if we can continue to organically grow and continue to impact people's lives in a positive manner, that's my goal, whether it's 500 employees, 1,500, and do it the right way and take care of people. And, really I trust my team. I trust our people to do the right thing. And I think I'm like, look, here's your budget and your numbers. You figure out how to do it within parameters. There's not, I don't know if there is or isn't, but we give our team a lot of ownership of what they're able to accomplish. So
I think that's a huge
world domination.
World domination. So what I'm hearing is that the expanding the number of people and their families that you could positively impact is the main thing. The numbers.
It's a byproduct.
Is a byproduct, and it's kind of like one of the ways that we keep score as a business, right? I mean, it is a business. A business is ultimately, something that's there to generate wealth and prosperity for people, certainly, and it goes way beyond that as well.
And what we've, sorry to interrupt, but what we've been kind of on this cultural revolution, I like to say, it's like, look, guys, the more successful Triton is, the more we can invest in our team, which then makes Triton more successful. And it's like this wonderful circle that I don't know why we didn't get it before, but anyway, I'm glad we're where we are now, because the more we give back, the more we get. And it's just like this wheel that's going to continue to turn. And I think every year, every opportunity, we're giving our team more and more, and then they're working harder and harder for you. So it's like the simplest thing, but it clicked for us. Mm-hmm. And so it's awesome.
I'm going to challenge you on one little thing there. You said, I don't know why we didn't get it before. I think you did get it before. I think you did. You just maybe weren't aware of what it was that you got.
That we were creating. Yeah, you're probably right.
I think it's become more intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
for sure. You. And it goes back to what I said earlier. It's about becoming more of who you already were, and scaling that, right? Scaling it from the original 5 to whatever the number ends up being is it takes a lot of work. But it's the key to success in all of this from what I've seen, and it's an oversimplification to say the key to success as if there's only one key, but a big key that unlocks many doors. Let's see if I can beat this metaphor to death. Is the realization that this is who we are, and we want to expand on that, as opposed to somebody who says, I need to start working on this because I've realized how much I hate people and how much of an asshole I am, and I and the people around me need some fixing, even though I don't really want to do that.
Right.
And frankly, there are some people that will go down that road, and God bless them for trying. But that's an entirely different sort of a challenge.
Right.
So I think you guys are poised for it, for great things. And I'm really excited to be participant in that journey. And it's an inspiring story. I get inspired every time I'm around you guys. And I'm really excited that I get to share you with the tens of people who listen to this podcast.
Tens, lots of zeros, right?
There's maybe
Tons.
11 or 12 of them.
Right.
Hi guys.
No, but it's great to be able to tell your story. So as we wrap this up, any last words of wisdom from the Katie and Rachel team to the rest of us who are, business people, entrepreneurs, leaders, aspiring leaders? What advice would you give me?
Love your team. Love what you do. Act authentically.
Be genuine.
Yeah. And I think it really is all wrapped up in your book, and why it's so impactful to myself, Rachel, and our team, because it's, to me, that's the keys to success. So I'm so looking forward to rolling it out to all our organization, and, making sure that's the backbone of who we are. So as we do expand, we can continue to push it through to all our team.
Fantastic. Katie, Rachel, thank you so much for joining me today. And to all of you listening in, until next time, do what you love in the service of people who love what you do. See you next time.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Love is Just Damn Good Business with Steve Farber. Join us again next time, because when customer and employee satisfaction just isn't enough anymore, we are here to back you up with specific ideas to operationalize love to make an enormous difference in your business, personal life, and the world around you. Visit our website at stevefarber.com to leave a review. And don't forget to share the love with your colleagues and friends, because after all, it's just damn good business.